Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, human being, American, and YouTube Ronin. Welcome to this week's episode of Unscripted. Already in the chat, FKHC 2005, sometimes known as Tim? Loyal Blue Wrench, the bird woman of YouTube. Look out for her new channel, Fluff Chick Productions, Connie Cleary. Host of Films with Friends, on which I will be appearing 2 weeks from now. The creator of the 10-word review, Big Out Presents. Friend of the channel and channel member JPRPH1. I would like to thank everyone following along tonight on Twitter. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. Please hit the like, share out the stream, let everyone know that we're on. All right. Now, I struggled this week to decide what I wanted to talk about this evening. And I considered talking about Harrison Butker and the backlash that he received over a speech that he had made. Then I thought about it, and I decided all that really boiled down to was Catholic man says Catholic things, wokies get their fifis hurt, screw the wokies. And I decided, you really can't make an hour out of that. I just pretty much narrowed down everything that I wanted to say in those 3 sentences. So I went, okay, let's put that aside for a moment. And then the whole situation with Nick Rekieta took place. And I didn't want to talk about that because, I don't know the whole story. I know it's being reported. I know that people noticed that there were things going on with him, but I didn't feel right going into it. I don't know Nick Rekieta personally. I've seen some of his content. I know people who know him, but I didn't really feel comfortable going into the whole thing. He is clearly someone who needs help, who needs to fix some things that are going on in his own life. He's a grown-ass man. I'm not going to treat him like a child. And I'm not going to hack on him while he's down. So I decided I was going to stay away from that. Other people have commented. I think some of the comments that have been made are out of line. And I think some of them are right on. but I'm not going to get involved because it's a legal situation now. I didn't feel like I had enough information to speak out on it. So I'm going to leave that alone. I'm a no drama channel, and I don't want to get involved in the drama. Now, I thought about either doing a Q&A show or doing another episode about how my channel came to be. And then I decided, I could do that any old time. And that's also stuff that I like to do when I'm doing member streams, which I'm going to be doing more of, by the way. I'm hoping to do one this week, for sure. It's just a matter of finding the time, but it's going to be probably mid or late week. So I figured, push all of that to the side, maybe do it later. Now, I got into a conversation with some friends earlier in the week about how you find these little hidden gems, when you go maybe onto a streaming service, or if you go to a theater that prides itself in showing independent film. How you can, you can find some hidden gems in there that maybe the general public doesn't know about. And how it's our job, those of us who review movies here on YouTube, to point people into the direction of some of these films. And we were also talking about how some of these bigger budgeted films seem to be failing in the box office. And why are these movies that should be sure things, that in past years would have been these $100 million opening weekends, and why is that no longer happening? And I want to say hello to our man from the future, Sashi. So he knows everything I'm going to say, because for him, this show has already happened. I also want to say hello to friend of the channel, Deep Zach. Another friend of the channel, the Clue Channel. Host of Geeky Geezers, which is going to be on right after this broadcast, Aged Boomer. Now, we see these bigger budgeted films, like Furiosa, not doing very well in the box office right now. Now I think with Furiosa, it's a little early, because when, and this is something that I've noticed taking place, movies being considered either huge flops or huge hits when they've only been out for a few, literally hours, and I'm like, hold up. Okay. So preview night didn't go well. Big deal. This is a 5-day weekend. It's a holiday weekend. So I don't think we should write these movies off so quickly. However, like Aged Boomer has said here in the chat, going to the movies is expensive. Now, I have heard people say that going to see a movie could cost you going to see a movie in a theater could cost you anywhere between $60 to $100. To which I ask, what theaters are you going to? Because here's the thing. Okay. I go to my local Regal cinema, and I am part of the Regal Unlimited club, which is basically you make one payment per month. You go to see 4 movies, maybe 3, 4 movies tops, and it's paid up. You pay like a surcharge, and that's it. And if going to a movie costs that much because you're bringing the family and, everybody's got to buy something at a concession stand. Now, with me, granted, I don't do all of that. So maybe for me, it's different because oftentimes I do go to a movie by myself, and I don't always go to a concession stand, and I've pretty much already bought the ticket going in. So maybe it's different from other people because for me, it's just a different experience going to a theater. Now, yes, the Fathom events are more expensive, granted. I lived in movie girl in Texas. You can order real food and liquor while you watch a movie. There are places that are like that, or at least there used to be. I don't live anywhere near any place that really does that. But there was a time when that was the case. I've heard it said that people got out of the habit of going to the movies during the pandemic. This is also true. It definitely changed the way I view movies. I watch movies a lot more online now. Or VOD or digital. And I'm going to go a little bit into that tonight. Because I'm going to be talking about a couple of smaller films, and I also wanted to talk about a movie that should be a blockbuster but isn't, and the reasons why I think that's taking place. Now, I have not seen Furiosa yet. A lot of the reviews that I'm hearing seem to have the same issues. And like I said, it's still a little early to tell, I believe, how well that movie is going to do this weekend. Do I think it's going to make its money back? No. But I could be wrong. Now, there was another movie that in other years would have been a blockbuster. It would have done well. It would have been in that $100 million club in other years. But not this year. And That movie is The Fall Guy. Now, I saw The Fall Guy last night. And it was a movie that I was somewhat looking forward to. And I like the leads. And they are very charming here. They are doing their best to make this movie work. The whole cast is actually pretty good. But I'm watching it and I'm like, there's something missing here. Now, one of the issues that I think people might have with The Fall Guy is it really doesn't have anything to do with the original series. Other than the fact that you have a character named Colt Seavers, and he's a stuntman. Now, in the show, he was a bounty hunter in his off hours. In this movie, that's not really the case. There's a crime that happens, he gets blamed, and has to solve it to clear himself. So, in a lot of ways, it's actually closer to The Fugitive, which they actually bring up in the movie. And there are a number of movie references peppered in throughout the film. The movie that they're making, that's kind of the movie within the movie, is a reference in and of itself, because it is this kind of Mad Max, Metal Storm, Destruction of Jaredson movie. They even call it Metal Storm. Which I actually did like. I thought that was funny. I kind of want to see this movie, even though it's probably not going to be that great. So there are things in the movie to like. But I think one of the issues that The Fall Guy might have is the fact, number one, it doesn't really have anything to do with the TV show. Past, like I said, the title, one character name, and the fact that a couple of the actors from the original series show up at the end of this movie. And they get dialogue and everything, and it's a fun little scene. But other than that, it really doesn't have anything to do with the original series. So there might be people who might look at this as being a cash grab, working off of the title of this past TV series. Now, that's one thing. The other thing is it can't seem to decide whether or not it wants to be a romantic comedy or an action film. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of both. But the people who go into this movie expecting an action film, they might be disappointed. But you also have the reverse, where you have people who are expecting a romantic comedy and they're like, oh, what is all these action scenes doing here? But I have to tell you, the thing that really kind of blew it for me was the fact that I figured out in the trailer who the culprits were going to be. Because the thing about the movie is there aren't a whole lot of characters. So it becomes this economy of characters type of situation. Okay, that person is responsible for everything that's going on. They have to be. There's no one else left. Economy of characters. Now, and hello to DJ Ronnie G. To the people who like this film, I'm not going to tell you not to, because there are things in it to like. I just personally don't believe they strung enough of those moments together for me to personally recommend it, because the storyline of it was just so predictable. And hello to Pacific 414. I came away from The Fall Guy being kind of disappointed. If you loved it, if you saw it and you loved it, outstanding. I'm glad that you did go out, support the movie. But for the people who say that it's a boring movie, or it just didn't land with them for whatever reason, I can't say that you're wrong. It's this weird middle ground that I'm seeing a lot of movies fall into. And I don't know if it's just me. I'm just getting older. I've seen a lot of movies that are like this, so there's only so many ways that they can go. Maybe that's it. But my final score at the end of this thing is that, yes, the leads are charming. It's clear they had fun making the movie. I just wish I was having as much fun as they did. And in the end, it wasn't for me. Considering this film and the recent WFA and SAG strikes, makes you wonder what the future of films will be like. WGA. Yeah, I know what you meant. I'm concerned now because I'm seeing movies that should have been Movies that I would have gone to in past years that I would have been excited for, that I would have had a good time at the movie scene. But I've also reached a point to where I cannot, in good conscience, tell people to go out and spend the kind of money that they're spending going to see movies that are at best mediocre. Films that should have been turned around and developed more. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that. You have the germ of something good there. Go back to the drawing board, rewrite it, whatever. Now, of late, I have been watching more independent film, watching more movies that are, that you find a lot on VOD, that turn out to not be half bad. And I'm going to be going a lot more into that, either in future episodes or in other videos. Now, when I used to be on the Stardust app, as Stardust, for those of you who don't know, is an app where you can go on for like 45 seconds and you can shoot these little, it's kind of like doing a short here on YouTube, where you can give out your opinion, on a film or a television show, whatever, And I met a guy there who followed me there, and he used to have what he called beer and pizza movies, and by that this was you can just chill out with your friends, have a beer and a pizza on a Saturday night, and have fun, watching a movie, and it didn't necessarily have to be a big blockbuster or necessarily even be that great, but they were entertaining and they were inoffensive. And I'm starting to find a lot of movies that are like that. And you have to kind of go in, like, say, Films with Friends. Yes. And he would have loved your Films with Friends show, I'm sure. Now, one movie that I found on VOD that I wanted to bring some attention to is a movie starring Nicolas Cage. Now, before you leave the broadcast, give me a moment to explain, because this movie actually is not half bad, and I think it's getting slept on. and it's Arcadian. And basically, the plot of Arcadian is it's sometime in the very near future. You're not exactly sure when. And there are these creatures who have kind of invaded Quiet Place style. They've laid waste to the cities. And you follow Nicolas Cage as he is leaving kind of the last remaining city as it's being destroyed. As he's leaving, he finds two infants, twin brothers. Abandoned. He takes the children, raises them as his own, and cut to 15 years later. They've managed to survive all of this time. They still have to deal with the creatures, though, who tend to come out at night. So, they have all of these rules set up. Don't stay out past a specific time, and whatnot, But one of the boys gets sweet on this girl who is from a neighboring farm. So he goes to see her. He stays out late, tries to rush back home, falls down a hole and gets trapped. So now it becomes this rescue mission. Cage has to go out, rescue the son, the one son, as the other one stays behind. And the other son is this kind of bookish, might be a genius, and he's studying the creatures and their behavior, and he's starting to think of ways that they can catch them, study, learn how to fight back. And yeah, I agree. It's basically A Quiet Place with Nicolas Cage in it. But it's not a bad film. And I know the reviews for it have been mixed. But it is one of those little hidden gem movies that I liked more than a lot of these so-called, blockbuster movies that are no longer impressing me for whatever reason. Cage is very good. The kids are very good. The monsters are friggin' fantastic. They're like these tiki alligator jackhammer things. And that have the ability to become sort of like, if you get enough of them together, they kind of bunch up and become this one being, and it's almost like a Voltron, but with these creatures. The creatures are scary as hell. And they just want to wipe us out. no ifs, ands, or buts. You know. So yeah, so it's Nicolas Cage and his sons versus these creatures, and it's an interesting film. And hello to my partner in crime, the toxic gunslinger himself, Jedi Bill. All right. So that's one film that I was personally impressed by. Now, another one that I saw recently, again on VOD, was a movie that I would consider to be one of these beer and pizza type movies. And it is directed by a man named James Bamford. And if his name is familiar, he is a stuntman who is now on the directing side of things. And according to IMDb, he has 4 movies coming out this year alone. And one of them was a movie called Air Force One Down. It's about a female Secret Service agent. Her uncle is the head of the president's security. And Russian terrorists take over Air Force One. I know this sounds familiar. Stay with me for a minute. It's in the title, folks. You know, Air Force One down, and that's exactly what happens. She escapes with the president in the middle of this hijacking, and Air Force One goes down. So now they are behind enemy lines, in enemy territory, and she has to find her own kind of inner Sarah Connor, you know, John McClane to get out, to get the president out. And he's no pushover either. He's a bit of a badass too. So it's a straight up action movie. A lot of shootouts, a lot of stunts. This is kind of like a stuntman field day. You know, this is the kind of movie the characters in the Fall Guy would be making. You know, is something like this. You know, but before anybody starts going, oh, is it woke or is she a Mary Sue? Absolutely not. And that's one of the things that I liked about this movie, is it's just an old school, mid-budgeted VOD action movie that actually has some heart to it, and you do care. That's one of the things that I'm noticing about the big budget Hollywood movies, is there's no heart to them. They're just kind of there. But in these smaller movies that I'm talking about tonight, it's there. I care for the characters. I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm curious what's going to happen next, you know. And one thing that I hate more than anything is a boring action movie. And this one is not boring. Um, yes, it's Air Force One. Yes, it's White House Down. But, there are a couple of twists and turns in it that go, okay, they're trying. They're trying to make a good movie here. And like I said, the you know the stunt work in it, of there are a lot of oneers. Okay, there are a lot of these long one shot fight scenes and action scenes in this movie. Yeah, right. The choreography of the scenes is really well done and believable, you know, because, there are no superheroes in this movie. They are people that can be hurt, and she's not taking down these guys who are, two or three times her size. She's not taking them out with one punch. You know, um, she'll shoot them in the head. She'll shoot them in the back. She'll take their knees out first and drop them, and then she can get them. It's a street fight. It's you do what you got to do to survive. And there's no Mary Susaness, you know. Um, and that's what I liked about it. It's an hour and a half, and I wasn't bored. And the action scenes work. And there's an arc for the lead character, and I like that. So if you have access to a VOD network, or and you come across Arcadian, or you come across Air Force One Down, give them a look. They're both 90 minutes, or maybe a shade under. So you're not wasting a whole lot of time. Now, there's another movie here that's in the thumbnail that I was saving until I got to the end. And this was a movie I had seen a trailer for. And it looked interesting in the fact that there are so many trailers that give away so much of the plot that everything that's going to happen in the movie before you see it. You have the whole thing figured out. You could almost write the movie yourself in a way. And I came across a trailer for a movie called New Life. And it was interesting because I couldn't figure out what genre this movie was in. It was almost like it was like the way trailers used to be. You know, it's not giving away the film. Except for one quick little camera shot, nothing in the trailers from the third act of the film. And another thing that I had heard that was interesting was the fact that the runtime was relatively short. It's 83 minutes with credits. So there's no fat on this movie. Every scene is either moving the plot along, or you get some interesting character beat. And I like movies that do that. And I'm not going to go too deeply into this film because I want everybody to see it. Because I think it's one of the best movies of the year so far. Now it stars Sonia Walger, who you might remember from Lost. She played Penny. She's been in a number of other TV shows, movies. She's in For All Mankind, I think, too. And Haley Aaron, who is primarily a soap opera actress. I think she's in The Young and the Restless, or one of those. And basically, you have Haley Aaron's character. She is on the run from a murder charge. And Sonia Walger has been tasked to track her down and capture her. It is also very obvious that she is not a cop. And there are the people who are tasking her to do this. So that all leads to the mystery of who are these people and why are they after this woman. And I don't want to give any more of the movie away than that. And everything I have told you, you find out in the first few minutes. I don't want to say anything more about the movie. I don't want to even give away the genre of film it takes place in, because there's a lot going on. And it's not what you think. But it really surprised the hell out of me. And it's one of the best movies I have seen so far this year. I have only given 4-star ratings to 3 movies this year. And this is one of them. So please seek this movie out. It's in limited theatrical run. So if it is still playing somewhere near you, please go to see it. And if it's not, if it's on VOD, it's on by that I mean if it's on streaming, rent it. It's worth paying for. It's worth paying to see it. All right. So that's a few of the little hidden gems that are out there, and my opinion on a big budget movie that should be doing better than it is, and why I think it's not doing as good. Some of it the fault of the movie, some of it not. Now, no matter what happens, I will never not go to the movies because I love film. I love movies. Of late, they haven't necessarily loved me back, but that's how it is. And hello to Tommy and Penny Collective. So, for as long as theaters are open, and as long as I am able, I will continue to go to the movies. But at the same time, not everything that's good makes it to theaters, and you have to look in alternate places. As much as people might not necessarily want to, you know. Now, those of us who are a strong supporter of physical media, we don't necessarily like buying anything, buying like a copy of a movie online or something, or using a digital copy or whatever. But or renting a movie VOD. Every once in a while it has to happen now. But movie theaters aren't going to die. And physical media is not going to die. And yes, Tommy, I miss those days too. But I have to believe that somewhere down the line, those days will return. And I've had some people tell me that sometimes the show makes it seem like there's no hope. And maybe it does seem that way because I have been covering some pretty heavy subjects. But this episode is about keeping the faith, hanging on to that hope. I believe there's hope. And there are people in Hollywood who do not hack on their fans. There are still people out there who are bucking the studio system, who are making entertaining movies and kind of living by their own rules, so to speak. Now, Netter's Network is going to have Tom Conkle on her show here coming up, Thursday Things. And we're going to be getting an update on how his movie Island in the Stars is doing. Please go and seek that Indiegogo out, and or whatever. I think it's Indiegogo, which I'm sure they're going to have the link for during the show. Don't seek that out. You know, if we want good entertainment, sometimes you got to put your money where your mouth is. I say it's darkest before the dawn. Unfortunately, it's damn near pitch black out there right now. Yeah. But I see a light at the end of the tunnel, folks. And it may take some time, but I think we'll get there. Now, for my off-the-shelf segment this evening, I earlier today learned of the passing of the author Caleb Carr. And if his name is familiar, he wrote The Alienist, its sequel, The Prince of Darkness, and another book that I managed to pull off of my shelf just before the show, which is Killing Time, which is another one of his books. He also wrote a Sherlock Holmes mystery called The Italian Secretary, which was approved by the estate of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So for my off-the-shelf segment tonight, in honor of the passing of Caleb Carr, I recommend books. The Alienist, Angel of Darkness, Killing Time, The Italian Secretary. There are others. Go and seek them out. They're good reads. All right. Geeky Geezers should be starting up right about now. Boom. Unscripted raid of Geeky Geezers. I want to thank everyone who is in the chat tonight, including Deep and Zach, Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective, Connie Cleary, Jedi Bill, FKHC 2005, Big Al Presents, Pacific 414, D. Ronnie G, Aged Boomer, The Clue Channel, Shashi, I see light at the end of the tunnel. So follow me down and let's see what we find. From HQ at all points, north, south, east, west, and beyond. Good night. Take care. Stay strong. As Eric 13 would say, watch more fucking film. Because this is how we win. Not every movie goes straight to ViewMaster. It just seems like it sometimes. Good night, kids.